In most fantasy stories, the hero saves the day by relying on the bonds of friendship. Sung Jin-Woo takes a different approach. He kills his enemies, harvests their souls, and forces them to fight for him. This strategy carried him all the way from humanity's weakest E-rank hunter to the supreme entity known as the Shadow Monarch. But building an empire out of dead monsters raises an interesting question. Out of the millions of souls under his command, who is actually his absolute greatest soldier? To answer that, we have to look at how he built this army in the first place. After nearly dying in a hidden double dungeon, Jin-Woo was chosen by a mysterious game-like program called the System. This program was secretly designed by a cosmic being named Ashbourne to slowly mold Jin-Woo into his successor. This diagram shows the core mechanic behind that process, a skill called shadow extraction. By issuing the command, "Arise," Jin-Woo converts the residual mana of a fallen enemy into a perfectly loyal shadow. Success depends on Jin-Woo's own level, and he gets exactly 3 chances to extract a soul before it is permanently lost. If the extraction succeeds, the system assigns that soul a specific military rank. The hierarchy starts at basic infantry like normal and elite grades, scales up through knights and generals, and peaks at the mythical Grand Marshal. Because these shadows retain the skills they had in life and can even level up alongside him, Jin-Woo operates as a self-sustaining army. Every defeated obstacle increases his combat power, turning a lone hunter into a legion. The first major asset he acquired was Igris, the blood-red commander. With his towering crimson armor and long dark plume, Igris operates as Jin-Woo's original true knight and the emotional anchor of his entire force. Jin-Woo fought a grueling boss battle in the class change quest to defeat him. In life, Igris was an elite knight with a strict code of honor and peerless swordsmanship, traits he carries over into death, frequently kneeling respectfully before Jin-Woo after a battle. Contrast that noble behavior with Kim Chol. He was an arrogant A-rank human tank who recklessly split his party during the frozen Red Gate incident. His own pride ultimately led to his execution in the snow. Jin-Woo extracted Kim Chol's soul on the spot, renaming him Iron. As a shadow, Iron serves as the army's impenetrable frontline defense, using massive shields to absorb incoming physical attacks. Right beside him is Tank, the alpha ice bear boss extracted from that very same Red Gate. Tank provides brute force destruction, capable of physically plowing through dense hordes of enemies like a living battering ram. The Vanguard proves that Jin-Woo's power converts every threat into a permanent tactical solution. By breaking a master swordsman, an elite tank, and a predator, he ended up with a defensive line that covers almost any offensive style. Once the front line was secured, Jin-Woo needed artillery. Enter Kargolgon, the high orc shaman who nearly wiped out an elite strike team inside a Hunter's Guild A-rank gate. Renamed Tusk, this shadow provides Jin-Woo with magical destruction.
Tusk manipulates gravity to crush opponents and projects massive waves of fire, using deep mana reserves to act as a walking siege weapon. For mobility, Jin-Woo claimed a wyvern named Kaisel from the corpse of the Demon King Baran. Kaisel gives the Shadow Army aerial dominance and allows Jin-Woo to transport his forces anywhere on the globe in minutes. Grave. His most devastating acquisition happened during the Jeju Island raid. A mutant insectoid colony had bred an apex predator known as the Amp King, a creature so powerful it slaughtered several elite S-rank hunters with a few blows. In life, the Ant King used an ability called Gluttony to absorb the skills of anyone he consumed. Extracted and renamed Beru, he retained that lethal speed and power while developing a fanatical obsession with pleasing his new master. Beru's loyalty stands in contrast to greed. Formerly known as Hwang Dong-su, he was a murderous human S-rank who tried to kill Jin-Woo. Jin-Woo beat him to death and extracted his soul, forcing his human enemy into mandatory, eternal servitude. With the addition of magical artillery, an aerial mount, and an S-rank predator, Jin-Woo's tactical footprint exploded. He now possessed the military versatility required to face global threats. Yet none of these shadows represent the absolute peak of the army. That title belongs to Bellion. Bellion was Ashbourne's original first servant, an ancient entity born directly from the celestial world tree. Wielding a segmented sword that whips around like a centipede, Bellion is the only shadow to hold the rank of Grand Marshal. Upon his arrival, he immediately outperformed Beru, cementing his dominance over the entire legion.
This chart illustrates the cosmic scale of the force Bellion commands. After inheriting Ashbourne's ancient troops and hunting down the remaining monarchs, Jin-Woo's army swelled from a few dozen infantry into a planetary force exceeding 10 million soldiers. The arrival of Bellion and a legion 10 million strong signifies that Jin-Woo has outgrown Earth's ranking system entirely. He now commands the same infinite force that once belonged to the original Shadow Monarch, establishing his place as a universal power. This diagram organizes shadows based on raw power and strategic utility. Support units and elemental specialists fill the base and mid-levels, while the top slots are reserved for the elite. The pinnacle is occupied by the big three: Igris, Beru, and Bellion. Igris brings silent honor and technical swordsmanship to the battlefield, while Beru operates as an unpredictable, hyper-lethal assassin driven by fanatical devotion. However, Bellion is the definitively strongest shadow. His cosmic lineage and raw power place him in a tier that rivals the monarchs themselves. The strength of these soldiers serves as a direct measurement of Jin-Woo's own growth. Every soul in the army is a monument to a boss Jin-Woo broke, reflecting his total authority over the very monsters that once terrorized humanity. Jin-Woo protected the world by weaponizing the darkness sent to end it. He rules an empire built from the souls of his enemies, standing as the ultimate shield for a world that used to call him its weakest soldier.